Now, the university itself is not too old. We have been covering some universities that were established in the 18th or the 19th century. It also has a total undergraduate enrollment of almost 3,300 students, which means that you will be mixing up with some of the brightest minds. And as I mentioned earlier, the engineering programs are accredited by ABET. So once again, two very, very strong accreditations. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the dual enrollment program with AcadFly. And today, I get to take you to the Big Apple with the help of New York Institute of Technology. Now, if you're not familiar with the dual enrollment program, and if you would like to know a little bit more about it, then you can click on the link right here. But if you are familiar, then allow me to quickly freshen up your memory with some major USPs about the program. You get to save almost 1 year of your graduation time with the dual enrollment program. Not only that, but you get to save almost $30,000 when it comes to your first year tuition fee, which plays a lot when it comes to an institute like the New York Institute of Technology. Now, the university itself is not too old. We have been covering some universities that were established in the 18th or the 19th century. And therefore, this is fairly new. But the biggest USP for this is that it is in New York, one of the biggest hubs, not just in the USA, but across the entire globe. So you'll pretty much be sitting in the power center of the global ecosystem with New York Institute of Technology. So it was founded in 1955 and has campuses in Manhattan and Long Island in New York. But it also has a fairly well global presence because it has campuses in Abu Dhabi, Nanjing, and Vancouver. It also has a total undergraduate enrollment of almost 3,300 students, which means that you will be mixing up with some of the brightest minds and will be also having substantial competition when it comes to your undergraduate program. The campus size is fairly large, 215 acres. You really can roam around as much as you want across these campuses. And your academic calendar is pretty much semester based, which is similar to India, and therefore you would be familiar to it when you speak with your Indian counterparts over here. Now, when it comes to its rankings, it is ranked number 15 in the regional university ranking across USA in the North region. So fairly decent ranking at that. It is also known for its strong STEM programs, right? So if you are looking to excel in the field of STEM, if you're looking for an engineering or technology related graduate program, this is definitely a university that you can consider for yourself. It also has a fairly high focus on providing hands-on learning. So it's not just going to be rote learning that you will be focusing on. You will get to learn what is currently happening inside the industry. So when you graduate with what is currently inside the market, and you graduate as an employable candidate. Not only that, but the program in itself, from engineering and computer science point of view, is ABET accredited, which once again adds to the pedigree and the meritoriousness of the degree that you graduate with. Now, the location is something that really puts an emphasis on the degree in itself. Like I mentioned previously, you will be based out of New York, and that really puts an emphasis on how much you can really network. One of the key concepts when it comes to any degree, be it undergraduate or postgraduate, is that you get to establish connections that can potentially last for a lifetime. And therefore, if you are sitting inside one of these two campuses, be it Manhattan or Long Island, you really get to go out, network, and create those boundaries that can really propel or help your career later in your future as well. Now, some of the most popular courses really focus around the STEM courses when it comes to New York Institute of Technology, technology being a part of the name itself. But it also has certain other courses, including the business, health sciences, and biomedical engineering that you could potentially pursue. Now, what it still means is that while STEM courses would be a key part of your undergraduate, but if you choose to go a different route, that is also accessible at NYIT. Now, you also get OPT extensions, and I'm going to talk about it in a few minutes as well. But that is a key part of why you should be choosing NYIT, especially if you're going to go a technological route when it comes to your undergraduate degree. Now, apart from the courses that it offers, the undergraduate requirements are fairly substantial as well when it comes to NYIT. Your high school transcript should be very, very strong. So it has a strong focus on the academics, and therefore that is something that you should really be looking at when it comes to your application for NYIT. Your optional SAT scores are a key part of the lure of the program, which means that you really don't need to give the SATs, especially if you have a very strong academic background when it comes to your class 10th or 12th. But if you give it, it will really add to your overall applications. But with the dual enrollment program, it becomes a near guarantee that you get an admission in the New York Institute of Technology. And finally, when it comes to English proficiency, that is where you'll have to put in a little bit focus. But once again, from a DEP standpoint, that is something that we can also allow you to prepare for. And from TOEFL perspective, 79 plus would be a good score. From IELTS point of view, 6 plus. So really not that high, but obviously you'll have to put in a decent amount of efforts in order to get those scores, something that AcadFly can really help you out with. Now, what about the overall cost? Now, this is where once again that the DEP program really helps you out, because it allows you to save up to 30,000 USD in your first year fee. But at an yearly level, that fees inches closer to 50,000 USD. If you are looking to get admission in a couple of years' time, or maybe 2-3 years down the line, that number would really be closer to 50,000 USD per year. But once again, with the DEP program, you can save up to 30,000 on your first year fee. Graduation tuition is almost 22 to 28,000, so it's slightly less, and it is also dependent on the program that you're looking to get an admission into. Living costs, obviously being New York, it will be slightly on the higher side, so somewhere between 15 to 18,000, and that number obviously at a yearly level keeps on going slightly above. But that doesn't mean that you really don't get to save at all. They offer a fairly substantial amount, which is up to 25,000 USD, purely based on the meritocracy of the candidate who's applying for it. So if you get good grades inside your class 10th and 12th, if you get to have a strong overall performance, and I'm not just saying from an academics perspective, but if you have a really balanced profile, that is somewhere that you can really get to save on your overall fees. Now, one very, very good part about NYIT is that it offers a lot of support for the international students. They also have a designated Indian student organization, which is the South Asian Student Association, which means that you definitely would not be left out. They recognize that a lot of Indian students come in because of the choices when it comes to STEM programs. They really offer a lot of assistance when it comes to that. So purely when it comes to you being part of the Indian diaspora, you would be assisted a lot when it comes to NYIT, and that really adds to the USP of the program. Now, internship and job placements is something that is fascinating when it comes to NYIT, because of the fact that you start off with employers like Microsoft, IBM, Goldman Sachs. So your creme de la creme of the employer world. And that purely should be one of the key reasons why you should be looking to consider NYIT. If you get to start off with one of these companies, imagine where your career would be in 5 or 10 years down the lane, right? So it definitely has a lot of strong ties inside the industry. Being situated inside New York really helps on that front. And as I was mentioning earlier, networking is a key part of the undergraduate and postgraduate world. And if you are based out of New York, that is something that already takes care of half of the effort, because you really don't need to go too much around when it comes to creating those networks. They also offer a lot of career services for internship and job assistance, which means that your chances of graduating with a very good employer becomes exceptionally high compared to some of the other universities across the globe. and even inside the United States of America. And obviously, for the STEM graduates, the market in itself is very, very vibrant. You get to see a lot of other employers coming in and taking admissions and taking graduates out of the courses from NYIT, including Apple, IBM, and therefore your career choices become endless if you're a part of a STEM program. Now, another key part, if you are going for a STEM program, then the OPT extension is almost 3 years, which means that you get to stay back for almost 3 years after finishing up your graduation degree. And that is something that you should really be considering if you're going for a course inside the United States of America. Now, it is accredited by the Middle States Commission of Higher Education, or MHCHE. And as I mentioned earlier, the engineering programs are accredited by ABET. So once again, two very, very strong accreditations that the university has. Some of the most notable alumni include Brian Kenny, Patty Ann Brown. That really adds to the pedigree of the overall program. And therefore, if you're thinking about a STEM program that is also based out of USA, then NYIT should be really at the top of your list. Not only do you get to graduate in one of the most academically strong programs, but you get to be in the heart of the global powerhouse city across the planet.